I made over $1.1 million over the past 4 years, and I just calculated this. 209,000 of that came from a single funnel that I launched 8 months ago after burning my entire business down and having to start from scratch. You see, the business model that I was running at the time was dying, and I knew if I didn't do something fast, I was gonna be in some big trouble. So I had to completely change everything I was doing. I had to create a new product, I had to create a new offer, I had to completely change the marketing, messaging, and branding I'd been putting out for the previous 3 years. I basically had to blow up my entire business and start over from zero with this brand new funnel. But what I love about this funnel is how simple it is. There's no website involved. It's not this crazy complex funnel with multiple steps. It's literally the most simple, most effective funnel I've had in over 14 years as an entrepreneur. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly why I believe this is the best funnel for your business in 2025. I'm gonna break it all down for you step by step and just give you everything you need to make it work. So I honestly believe this is probably one of the most important YouTube videos that you're gonna watch this year. We've got a lot to go over. First, I'm gonna share with you the story of why I had to burn down my entire business and start over from scratch with this funnel. Then I'm gonna show you exactly how this funnel works step by step so you can just copy it. I'm also gonna show you how I avoid wasting a bunch of time and energy creating products that people might not buy by selling those products in advance and getting paid to create them. I'm gonna show you the #1 thing that you must have in place to get this funnel to work and how you can create that fast. We'll get into exactly how I drive traffic both organically and using paid ads. And then finally, I'm gonna show you how I'm using this funnel to scale my business by selling one to many. So I'm telling you, this is probably the most valuable video you're gonna watch on YouTube this year, and I'm not even joking. But first, let me tell you how this all got started. So the 3 years prior to launching the funnel that we're gonna talk about, I had a completely different business. I was teaching Facebook groups and how to use Facebook groups to grow your business, and I was using a Facebook group to grow that business. Around 2023, I started to notice something pretty interesting, okay? And that is that a lot of the coaches, the gurus, the people that I respected that had huge Facebook groups, very successful Facebook groups, were starting to move from Facebook to a platform called Skool. And I was like, what is going on? Why is this happening right now? And luckily I ran into one of my buddies, Rob Bailey, at a high level event. We were at the bar just kind of chit chatting, and he was one of the people that moved his Facebook group to Skool, and he had like a huge Facebook group, 12,000 people, moved all of that over to Skool. So I was like, dude, what is going on? Why are all these people moving to Skool? Why did you move from Skool? Because you had a great, successful Facebook group. And he was like, well, honestly, man, my Facebook group was starting to die. There was no engagement. It was just starting to really feel like a ghost town. And so I decided to move over to Skool because I had talked to people like Billy Jean had moved his group over to Skool. And they said, man, you got to move over to Skool. It's the engagement's killer over there. So he moved, and he was like, instantly my engagement went through the roof. And he's absolutely crushing it now. So I was like, I paid attention to it, but I had no plans whatsoever in moving, my Facebook group over to Skool because it was my whole entire business. That scared the shit out of me, to be honest. So a little bit of time goes by, and I was looking for a place to host my courses. So Sam Ovens comes out with an annual offer for Skool where you can get a whole year of Skool plus a bunch of other courses for like $9.97. So I jumped in because I was looking for a place to host my courses, plus those courses that he was selling sounded pretty cool. Moved over to Skool. I didn't move over to Skool. I put my courses in Skool and just left it there. There was no community in there. There was no engagement, no posts going on, anything like that. And I was just kind of passively growing the community by inviting people from my Facebook group when they joined over to Skool. And over the year, I grew that to around 1,000 people. I think we were at like 900 people. And there was no posts at all for an entire year. It was just a dead community, but the courses were in there. And then during that year where I was just kind of passively growing Skool, I noticed that just more and more, the reach inside my community was just dropping more and more. My engagement was dropping, and business was starting to take a hit. So I was like, man, I have to do something or my business is going to die. Okay, that's what I was feeling honestly in that moment. And so since I had grown my Skool community to around 900 people, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to launch an offer and bring in some cash flow to help the business. And so I did that. I planned out my promotion, got it ready to go. And then that same day, Alex Hermosi comes out with an announcement that, hey, I've made the biggest investment in my entire life into a platform called Skool. So I felt like everything in the universe, God, all my peers, everybody was just telling me, hey, you got to move over to Skool. So I made the leap. I went for it and I moved everything over to Skool, kind of shut down my Facebook group. I still use it, but not to the degree that I was previously. And so I made the leap. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. At first, my revenue took a huge hit. Like for months, I was barely making any money, and I didn't feel comfortable teaching Facebook groups anymore because I wasn't using Facebook groups for my own business. So I had to completely change everything. I had to create a new product, a new program. I had to create a new offer around that. I stopped talking about Facebook groups on YouTube and to my lists and all that stuff, and had to completely shift everything. So I literally was starting from scratch, except for the audience that I would build around Facebook groups. And so again, for months, I was still trying to figure out how to use Skool in a similar way that I was using Facebook groups to get business. I tried a bunch of different models out that people were teaching out there, and I couldn't get anything to work until June of 2024. And in June, we had implemented a model to drive everything to book calls. And in that month, I think we had set it up the month before. That month, we booked 40 calls, which was about a little bit over 40 calls, which was about the best that I had ever done with Facebook groups. And we made a bunch of sales and we started to make a little bit of money. The following month was even better. We made like 50 or 60 calls. We booked like 50 or 60 calls. Then the next month got better. And then the next month, in August, we decided to launch our paid community. So that's when we started our paid community, is in August. And fast forward to today, we are at $17,000 MRR. That's $17,000 in monthly recurring revenue. We also have high ticket sales, a high ticket offer. And so we're bringing in somewhere around 30K per month. We're growing every single month. And so honestly, this funnel I'm not even lying, this is the best funnel I've ever had in my entire business. It's consistent, it's simple, and it just works. So let's head over to the computer and let me break it down for you step by step and show you how this thing works so that you can implement it for your business. All right, so this is the 10,000 foot view of how the community funnel works, okay? And we're gonna go into each one of these individual pieces here in a second and show you how each piece fits together. But basically what we're going to be showing you is how we drive people into the free community, and then once they're in the free community, how do we use that community to convert people into either a paid community member or a high ticket client. So let's actually zoom into the first piece of this roadmap and take a look at the community funnel itself. So the first piece of this whole thing is we got to drive traffic into the community. We'll zoom in on that here in a second. We'll show you exactly how we're doing that. But you can drive traffic however you drive traffic. Our three core channels are Facebook Organic, YouTube, and Facebook Ads. And eventually we'll scale out from that once we kind of really get comfortable with the production on all three of these channels, okay? So we drive traffic to our free community, they join our free community, and then once inside of our free community, we have a bunch of different mechanisms that we'll zoom in here on a second that work to get people on a phone call. Now, once they're on that phone call, that person should be pretty warmed up. Now, they've consumed content outside of our community. They've also joined our community, and now they're engaging in the community, plus they've consumed the content in the classroom. And so now they pretty much should be very warmed up, and we should have built a lot of trust and authority with that person, so we have a high show up rate. Now, on that call, it's a very simple, laid back conversation. They're obviously on that call because they're interested in what the theme of our community is about. And so we just see if they have a problem that we can help them solve. And if we do, then we ask about their current situation and see which of our products is the best fit for where they are right now. So if there's somebody that has more money, they want to move a little bit faster, they want more access and more done for you help from us, then they're a great candidate for a high ticket offer. If there's somebody who wants to move a little bit slower, maybe they don't have as much to invest right now, then they're a better candidate for our paid community. And then once inside of our paid community, we continue to build that know, like, and trust. And then we have the ability to upsell that person into a high ticket offer as well. All right, so let's talk about offer creation. So I'm a huge proponent of actually going out and selling the offer before you go build this huge program. I don't want to spend days, weeks, months building this huge coaching program, this huge course, and then come to find out that nobody wants it and nobody buys. I would much rather sell it first and then build it with the customers that purchase, okay? That way you're creating that feedback loop with those customers so you can create a much better product because you're finding out what those people want, you're finding out where the gaps in the product are, and then you can actually add those to your program to make it a much better product. Also, you're going to be able to, if you give people great results during that first part of the program, then you're going to be able to create video testimonials. You're going to be able to create case studies that's going to help you to market and sell that product down the line. Okay, so let's talk about offer creation. So the first step in creating any offer, in my opinion, is building out what we call a product roadmap. So what is a product roadmap? Well, a product roadmap is the step-by-step process that you take people through to take them from their current situation where they're unhappy, they're not dissatisfied, they're not getting what they want, all the way to their dream outcome, okay? And so there's a gap between those two situations, and your product roadmap is a step-by-step process that you take people through to fill that gap, okay? Now, once we have the product roadmap, the product is not the offer. The offer is how you package that product and make it irresistible. You add bonuses, you add scarcity and urgency to make it irresistible to your target audience so that's easy to sell, okay? And creating an offer is one of the most important things that you can do in your business. If you have a great offer, it fills a lot of gaps in your marketing and sales, okay? Now, once we have the offer, in our model, we create what's called a offer one-sheeter. And then what we do once we have the offer one-sheeter is we go out, we make some posts on social media, we talk to our warm audience to start conversations, and then present that offer and hopefully sell some people into that beta program. And then once we've sold some people, now we can actually build it with them like we talked about, and now you've got paid to build your product, okay? All right, so now that we have our product roadmap, we have our offer one-sheeter, and we're actually ready to sell. Now let's talk about how we can actually use that information to generate leads. Now, as you start to build out your product roadmap, you're naturally going to identify steps in that process that are just way more attractive, way more appealing to your target audience. And you know, if you create some content around that, then people are probably going to perk up. They're going to be interested in that. Now, once we've identified those steps, we can actually take that information to an AI tool, ChatGPT, Claude, and we can start to brainstorm or ideate different ideas for lead magnets. Okay, you may already have some good ideas for lead magnets, but what we want to do is, if we don't already have those lead magnets created, we want to again validate the idea before we spend the time to actually create that lead magnet. So what we can do is we can take some ideas for lead magnets and we can email our list, we can put out some social media posts, we can even run some ads to some just very simple ads with just text to actually validate that people actually want that lead magnet. And if we get enough people raising their hand, then we can go off and build that lead magnet. And I'm going to show you in this training a really simple way to create lead magnets that generate tons of leads and help you to drive traffic and grow your community. So that's how we're going to be generating leads. Now let's talk about some different examples of lead magnets that we've used in the past and how we've promoted those to drive people into our communities. So we've created a ton of great lead magnets over the years, and we've promoted these lead magnets in all kinds of different ways to get people to join our communities. And I firmly believe if you have lead magnets that your audience actually wants, you will never have any problem getting people to join your communities. So some of the examples that we've done in the past, this is one of our best one. This was the Facebook Messenger Playbook, which has generated thousands of leads for us, and we've promoted it using two-step posts on Facebook. So this is essentially a post with a colored background that says, hey, I got this thing. If you're interested, drop a comment below and I'll send it to you. And then we can reach out to those people in the DMs, and then we can say, hey, by the way, if you want to get access to this, it's inside of our free community. It's free to join. And so we send them over to the community. We've also used short form video to promote this in the past. We've used multi-channel live streams in the past to promote this. And all these pieces of content are actually getting people to raise their hand saying they want it, and then we can deliver it. We can basically show them that they can access that inside of our free community, all right? And you can see all of these posts, if I go back, have generated a tons of comments. So we've got 120 comments there. We've got 106 comments there, we've got 70 comments there, and this is all compounding over time to drive people into our community, all right? So let's continue. Let's show you another one. So ChatGPT prompts, these are always major hits, okay? So we've got prompts for offer creation, where again, we use two-step posts to promote it, and then we also use live streams to promote this, all getting people to raise their hand saying, hey, I want those ChatGPT prompts. We start the conversations in the DMs. We drive them to our community, but we can also use that conversation to try to book calls and offer, and then present our offer one-sheeter to them. All right, so we've also had ChatGPT prompts about offer creation, which again, we've used two-step posts on Facebook. We've used live streams on Facebook, all to generate comments that we can start those conversations and then show them where to access them in the community. So the best types of lead magnets are tangible resources. These are these utility type things that people can use to implement and execute the steps in your process a lot faster and easier. So these are things like checklists. These are things like SOPs. People love a good checklist. Scripts and plug and play templates are always good. And obviously, ChatGPT prompts are very hot right now. And most likely, you already have a lot of these types of lead magnets laying around. You probably have tools and resources that you use with the clients to help them to do certain tasks a lot faster and easier. And so if you don't have those things, then we're going to show you how to validate those ideas first, and then we're going to show you how to use AI to create those lead magnets very, very quickly, so you don't have to spend hours or even days creating lead magnets. You can do it really quick, get them up, and then start getting people into your community. All right, so now that you understand what a good lead magnet looks like, let's talk about how we use those lead magnets on different platforms to drive traffic and get people to join our community. All right, so we talked a little bit about how we use social media and Facebook specifically to drive traffic to get people to join our community. We use the two-step post with the colored background. We use short form video, which you can post on other channels as well. And we use live streams, which you can also simulcast on different channels like YouTube and LinkedIn using something like StreamYard. And the idea behind the content that we're posting on social media is to get people to raise their hand and say, hey, yes, I want that lead magnet. And then that gives us a reason to reach out to those people in the DMs to start conversations, invite them into our free community where they can access those lead magnets, but also leverage that conversation to try to book calls if that's how you actually convert people. Now let's actually talk about YouTube and how we're using YouTube, which is probably my favorite channel in 2025 to drive organic traffic and grow your communities. So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to create lead magnets that align with our videos. And that way, in that video, we can say, hey, by the way, if you want to do this faster, we've got a great AI prompt, a cheat sheet, a checklist that you can use to do that. And to access that, I'm going to drop a link in the description where you can join our free community to get instant access. And now, the way YouTube works, it's an evergreen search engine. So as you create more and more of these videos, maybe those videos don't get 1 million views, maybe they only get 1,000 views, but over time, those 1,000 views compound, and then you eventually will have a bunch of these different pieces of assets out there, all driving traffic and a ton of traffic to your community and growing your community. And you might even get lucky and have a video that's a hit that gets hundreds of thousands of views, even millions of views. And you can imagine how much traffic that can send to your community and how fast it could grow your community if that happens. All right, so YouTube is probably one of my favorite channels in 2025. I think everybody should have a YouTube channel. So if you don't, go ahead and start one today. Now let's talk about Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads are not as complicated as people try to make them. Basically, all we're doing is we're taking our lead magnets, we're creating some very simple ads with some very simple copy, and you can see here some ugly creative. We're throwing a little bit of money behind it, and then we're using that to drive people into our community, to get people to join our community and grow our community. And this works for us, this works for our clients, and we're getting, I think, $6 group joins, and then we're also booking calls for sub $70. And if you ask anybody in this industry, that's probably half of what people typically pay to book a phone call. So we're getting really, really good results from using some very simple lead magnets and running some ads to get people to join our community. So I firmly believe that using lead magnets to grow your community is the way to go. All right, so now that you know how to grow the community, let's talk about how do we actually make money? How do we convert those members into paid customers? All right, so the first way that we do that is our call booking system. Now, you don't have to book calls, but that's one of the ways that we convert our members into paid customers, all right? So let's show you how this works. So when somebody joins our free community, the first thing that they have to do is they have to answer our membership questions. In those membership questions, we're collecting phone number, we're collecting email. We're sending that information into our CRM, which is GoHighLevel, and then we're following up with those people via text and via email. And so we're tracking all of the different mechanisms that we use inside of the community to book calls. And so we know that every single one of these pieces of the puzzle works together to book our calls, all right? And we're booking like 90 calls a month, which is pretty insane to me. personally. All right, so one of the ways that we're booking calls is our email workflow, and then the other way is our SMS workflow. Also, when people join our Skool community, Skool has a plugin that actually will automate the DM that is sent to them when they first join. All right, so that is another mechanism that we're using to book calls, and it's probably our best mechanism inside of this system that actually gets people to book calls. Also, in our courses, in our community classroom, every single course that we have in that classroom and every single lesson in those courses has a call to action to book a call. Also, we have pinned posts in the communities that is specifically around booking a call when somebody comes into the community. So it's one of the top 3 posts that people see. And then every day we post inside the community, and we use AI to create those posts a lot of times. And all of those posts are going to have a call to action to book a call. And all of those mechanisms work together to drive people to our calendar, where they book a call and they fill our calendar every single week with warm, qualified leads that we can actually try to sell into our paid community or our high ticket offer. All right, so the call booking system is just one of the ways that we actually convert free members into paid community members and high ticket clients. The other way that we convert our free members into customers is using what we call conversion events. And basically what conversion events is just a series of pieces of content that promote an offer, okay? And so you can use different types of content formats, and we're going to walk through each one of those, but let's start with just a very basic promotion, okay? So this is an example of our Black Friday promotion, and what was cool about this Black Friday promotion is that we actually sold out in 3 days. We didn't even make it to Black Friday. We sold out by Wednesday. And so how this whole thing starts is we first create an offer around, whatever the event you're creating it for. So it could be Black Friday, it could be a holiday, it could be your dog's birthday, it could be whatever you want it to be. You just need a reason to have this promotion. Then what we do is we create an offer. I don't like to offer discounts. What I like to do instead is create these irresistible bonuses that are limited to this one promotion, okay? So for example, the Black Friday offer, what we did as a bonus was a done-for-you white glove setup. So this is where our team will go in, we'll set up the community, we'll set up the CRM, and then we'll integrate the two for you so that you don't have to do any of that stuff if you're not techie, okay? And you don't have to spend your time worrying about this stuff. So that was the offer, that was the big bonus. And then basically what we do is we have a sequence of posts and types of content that we create to get people to take action. So it starts with like a teaser post where we're building anticipation and excitement around the offer. Then we make the offer announcement, and then we use a bunch of other types of posts to create urgency as the deadline for that offer approaches, okay? So we're going to send that content through email and text message. We're going to create posts inside of our community. We might even post those posts on social media. We probably will. And then, so we're getting all these eyeballs on this irresistible offer that we've created. And by doing that, we can actually get people to buy our offer. And typically what happens is the closer you get to the deadline, the more urgency you create and scarcity you create, that's when people start to take action. You really need to create some kind of urgency around these different types of promotions. So that is just a basic version of a promotion, and these work really, really well. This is the exact same type of promotion that I used to actually win the Skool games in December for affiliates. So I created a really awesome affiliate offer that people wanted, and then we just used these promotional sequences like I show you here to get that offer in front of people, and I ended up winning first place in the Skool games. Got to go out to Vegas and hang out with Alex Hermosi and Sam Evans. So that's a basic promotion. Now let's talk about our second type of conversion event. All right, so the second type of conversion event that we're going to use to convert our free members into paid community members or high ticket clients is a webinar, okay? So the process works very similarly. We're going to use text, email, and also community posts and social media posts. But this time, instead of promoting the actual offer itself, we're promoting a webinar, a free training that people can get on and get a bunch of value. And then we're going to use that presentation to present our offer at the end. We've built up a lot of know, like, and trust in that webinar by giving them a bunch of value. And then at the end, we're going to present our offer. And hopefully, if that offer is irresistible enough, we'll convert some of those those free members into paid customers, all right? So that's webinars, and it works very similarly, only this time we're just just promoting the webinar, and then we're using the webinar to convert people. All right, the final conversion event, and this is probably my favorite one, is workshops. So again, the process works very similarly. We're going to use email, text message, and community posts and social media posts to promote the workshop this time. So webinars, I feel like, are kind of, people have gotten that, they kind of understand what's going to happen on a webinar. They're going to watch a presentation and they're going to get pitched at the end. And a webinar can still absolutely work, especially if you're really good at creating the presentation and you're good at, selling one to many. But I personally like workshops a little bit better because you get to spend a little bit more time with people. You're actually helping them implement a piece of your process, and that builds a whole lot more know, like, and trust, because now you've actually helped them to accomplish something. All right, so I really love the workshop model, and so we'll use the workshop to help them implement a step in the process, and then at the end we'll have the part where we actually have the pitch of the offer. And so that's the final conversion method, and probably my favorite way to convert our members into paid community members or high ticket clients. So to help you to implement the roadmap that we just went over, I've got a bunch of free resources inside of our free community that's going to help you to do that a lot faster. So once you join our community, you can go to the classroom area, and then you can go to the Community Launch Secrets course. First of all, this course is going to help you to get your community set up, get it launched, get your first 100 members. So that's pretty cool. Also, this first lesson here has all of our downloadable resources, all of our checklists, cheat sheets, prompts, those kind of things that's going to help you to implement that roadmap. The first one here is the Community Builders Checklist. This is awesome. You can see the tabs across the bottom here. So this is literally every single step that I would take if I wanted to start from scratch and start at zero and build a 10K per month community as quickly as possible. So you've got all the steps here, and then each of these steps has a series of very simple tasks. Some of these are like 2 minutes long to help you to implement that process. Also, we have the GHL Community Setup SOP and the Skool Community Setup SOP. So these are basically checklists that's going to walk you through every single step that you need to do to get your community funnel set up that we walk through in the roadmap portion of the video. Also, we have some AI tools that's going to help you to create all of the content assets that you're going to need to get your community set up. And you can literally do this in 30 minutes. I have a video of me walking through and doing this in 30 minutes to prove it, okay? So that's another asset. And then the one that we're about to walk through right now is the product roadmap builder. So we're going to be using this right now to build out your product roadmap, and then to help you to create lead magnets very quickly. And then you can use those lead magnets to go out and drive people back into your community and grow your community. All right, so now you know what a product roadmap is. Let's talk about how to build it and then how to use it to create lead magnets. That's what we're going to do for the rest of this video. So I've created a process that's going to make this super easy for you. We have your instructions here, and then we have the outline for the product roadmap here. So you're going to be building these steps that you're looking at in this graphic here. And so I've broken it down into a series of rounds. Each round, you're just going to do one simple task, and then you're going to move on to the next round. All right, so the first round, what we're going to do is we're going to list the steps of your product roadmap and give them the title. So list out the steps in your process down here and just give them a simple title. So if I was doing this for myself, I might do offer creation, I might do community funnel build out, and then I might do lead magnet creation. Okay, so those are my first 3 steps. All right, so that's round 1. You're going to go through all of the steps in your process and list those out. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to list the desired outcome your avatar will achieve once each step is completed. So what are they going to have at the end of once they've implemented each of these steps? So step number 1 for me, remember, was offer creation. So maybe the outcome would be an irresistible offer that their customers can't say no to and is easy to sell. Step number 2, where we talked about the community funnel, we're going to have a client acquisition system that works to convert members into paid customers on autopilot. And then step number 3, where we build out the lead magnet, we're going to have an asset that we can use to grow our community quick and easy. All right. So that's how you're going to list out the outcomes. So you go through all the steps and list those out. And then the final thing that we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to list out the many action steps involved in each step of the process. So each of these steps is going to have a series of micro steps or mini steps that you're going to do to accomplish the outcome in that step. So let me give you an example. So for offer creation, what we might do is we need to do some customer research. That's mini step number 1. We need to build out our product roadmap. We need to package up our offer, and then we need to build our offer one-sheeter. So that might be the mini step steps of offer creation. So you're going to go through and you're going to list out all the many steps of the individual steps that you created in your process. All right. Now, once you've done that, you've got the outline of your product roadmap. Now what I want you to do is I want you to fill in the details. So to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Loom, just like I am right now, and you're just going to turn on the camera. You're not going to filter yourself, and you're going to create one individual video for each of the steps in your process. And what I want you to do is, again, just start to brain dump. You don't have to filter yourself at all. We're going to use AI to clean this up a little bit later and to give you a working product roadmap document, and you're going to be able to do some really cool things once we've got that created. All right, so once you've gone through this process, you've done step 1, you've done step 2, and you've done your brain dumps on Loom of all the different steps in your product roadmap process. What you're going to do is you're going to go over to Loom. You're going to click on the transcript for each of the individual videos. You're going to grab that transcript and you're going to paste it into a single document in order. Once you have the full document, you're going to take all of that content and then you're going to take it to ChatGPT or Claude and have it clean it up, format it, and now you have an asset that you can use forever. This is going to be one of the most valuable assets you'll ever create in your business, because now you have a working document that you can create unlimited amounts of content from, unlimited amounts of lead magnets you can create from this. Let me show you an example of one way that you can actually do this using Loom. So this is the video that I just shot, kind of walking through how to use the product roadmap outline process. Once you actually have created that video, you can actually come down here to documents, and Loom will actually create an SOP from the transcript of that video itself. This now can become a lead magnet that you can promote on social media, that you can promote on YouTube, that you can promote using ads to drive people to join your community. And I'm going to prove this to you. Let me show you an example right now of how I use this exact process to grow my community. All right, so check this out. Let me show you what I did. And you can use this exact same process with the Loom videos that you create to build out your product roadmap. So what I did is I went to my YouTube studio and I sorted my videos by views. And so what I wanted to do is come through my videos, find a relevant video, and create a lead magnet based off of the ones that got the most views. So here's one that got basically 5,800 views. And it's basically a video where I compare GoHighLevel communities to Skool communities. And so what I did is I went to that video page and I have this Chrome extension installed on my Chrome where I can actually copy the transcript from the video, and then I take that transcript and I took it to Claude. And this is the prompt. Let me show you the prompt. So the prompt is, I help coaches and course creators get consistent clients using online communities. There are 2 community platforms I focus on, Skool and GoHighLevel communities. I created a video comparing the 2. Can you help me turn this transcript into a cheat sheet I could use to generate leads? Ask me questions if you need to, and then I pasted in the transcript. And check out what Claude did. Claude basically created this cheat sheet comparing Skool and GoHighLevel, and this is now one of my best lead magnets that drives traffic and grows my community. So let me prove that to you. So if I go to my community, one thing that I did right after I created the lead magnet is I came in here and I created this Skool versus communities, GHL communities post, new cheat sheet. Want it? Drop cheat sheet below. And you can see 160 comments. So half of that is me responding to people's comments, but half of that is people that I can now reach out to in the DM, start conversations, and try to sell them into our paid community or get them on a call and sell them into our high ticket offer. Actually, this guy right here that commented ended up buying our annual membership, which is $1,000. So we actually got a customer from that post, from that lead magnet. Also, what I did is I went straight away and I created some ads, a very simple ad. You can see very simple copy, not a pretty graphic at all, but kind of stands out in the feed to promote this lead magnet. Now let me show you the results. This is even better. So you can see 126 group joins, and we paid $6.51 per group join. Also, we booked 8 appointments at $102. That's a little bit more expensive, but check this out. We are getting cheap group joins from it, and we're also getting appointments. And we got not only the purchase from the guy that I just showed you on that post inside the community, but we also got a purchase from our ads for our high ticket offer. So you can see these lead magnets you can create really, really easily, and they actually get results. They get people to join your community, they book calls, and they get sales. All right, so up to this point, we've shown you the community funnel. We gave you the SOPs inside of our free community to help you to get that community funnel set up in like 30 minutes or less. We also showed you how to build out your product roadmap, and from that product roadmap, how to identify amazing lead magnets that your audience actually wants, and then to create those lead magnets super fast using AI. Now, what I wanted to talk about is how you can use those lead magnets to get your first 100 members inside of your community. And to do that, we've actually created a training for you inside of our free community in the classroom area. It's this fastest way to 100 members. And this is going to give you a process that's going to help you to take that lead magnet, promote it on social media, promote it to your email list, and get your first 100 members inside of your communities. So that you can see this is an hour-long training, so it's too much to go into in this video. But if you want this training, it is actually locked when you come inside of our community. But once you join, if you send me a message that says first 100, I'll unlock this training for you so you can get instant access to it. All right. So enjoy the training and get your first 100 members, and be sure to post your wins inside of the community.